Come on. Come on. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Mose. Today, I'm going to talk about great prostitute. Let me introduce you someone who is her name mentioned in Old Testament. When we read the Bible, first we encounter with that name, Jezebel, in Old Testament. And then we don't hear from her anymore until Revelation, the end of the book, we see that name again. So why that name that was for the old time suddenly we see in Revelation? I answer it for you. Why? It has been taught that there was some personal influence at work for evil in Thyatira. Whether in the household or not. Sometimes, instead of Jesus, Satan and evil rule household. That's why I said there is no wonder that hypocrisy and prostitute and every evil things started from Sin City. I know personally, I know someone who lives in Sin City. So there is no wonder. You cannot say wow. There is no need to say wow because it started in Sin City. I know. I know a family live in Sin City. I know that. I know a family lives there. So there is no wonder corruption started from there. There is no doubt about it. Okay? The sin alleged against her is the same for which the Nicolaitans are condemned and the eating of things sacrificed to idols. You know who are Nicolaitans? They are giving false teaching, false information. These are Nicolaitans. And they bring a statue to the church and sacrifice to the idol. You know that. So Revelation talks about this. If this view is right, the leader of exorcists is a woman with the name of Jezebel, regarded by her follower as a prophetess, as one with the real message from God, but viewed by the Lord of the church as a very Jezebel. So sometimes we gather followers. We gather followers. Follow me, follow me, follow me. Come to me, come to me, come to me. But actually, we are very Jezebel. Jezebel is a name. I know Jezebel is a name, but it's not referred to one person. It's not referred to individual in the Revelation. It was a name of one person in Old Testament, right? But in Revelation, when we read and we see the name of Jezebel, it's not referred to one person. It's referred to a group of people. It's referred to a team. That team giving false information to others. For failing to see and to show that the so-called deep things of this teacher were depths of Satan. No, some false teachers say that it's a layer, and they go deep. But The ocean is the deeps of Satan. You can go deep, yes, you can go deep, but you can go down to the you can go down to the river. I know you can go down to the ocean, but as far as you go deep, you go deeps of Satan, deep of Satan. So I'm telling you, ocean is deeps of Satan. For failing to see and to show that the so-called deep things of these teachers, the depths of Satan, the chief minister is rebuked. The master is rebuked. A large number of respectable critics regard Jezebel as a name applied to a group, to a team, not as belonging to an individual. As I told you before, certain churches should be named Jezebel, not only individual. Yes, we have some person that name, some people name Jezebel. I was working with one. Her name was Jezebel. But not only individual name Jezebel, but also a group, a team can be named Jezebel. They get the name from Jezebel. It seems best to view the name as symbolical, always remembering that the Jezebel spirit of pride, me. I told you, ocean is depths of Satan because always they self-promoting. They are not promoting God. They promoting themselves. Let me say something in Persian that is so important. برای خودش میگه وقتی که راجع به اقیانوس صحبت میکنه، سرود اقیانوس اوشن میخونه، برای خودش میگه. Let's go back to English. They claim superior holiness. They claim having higher knowledge. They claim that they know very well Word of God. They invited me. There was a conference between the churches. But there is no more knowledge than the knowledge of God Himself. So they invited me to that conference, and they said, "Oh, I invited somebody. We invited somebody from U.S. that he has very knowledge of God." They claim to have higher knowledge, but they disappoint people. Word of God shouldn't be disappointing. God told me, don't go there. Remember Paul? He wanted to go to Spain, and God didn't allow him to go there, as happened to me. I wanted to go to the conference between the churches, but God told me, no, God doesn't allow me to go there. He told me they're going to disappoint you. Word of God is not disappointing you guys. Always remember that Jezebel's spirit is proud, self-constituted authority, claims of superior holiness or higher knowledge linked with the disregard of and perhaps followed by churches of God. Sometimes our churches follow the spirit of Jezebel. We send messages with the spirit of Jezebel. What we send is a spirit of Jezebel. Let me read the Bible. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that had 7 heads and 10 horns, and blaspheme against God were written all over it. So when we first encounter with the name of Jezebel, it is in Old Testament. There was a king Ahab, and he had a wife, Jezebel, named Jezebel. Her name was Jezebel. And when a prophet of God came and told them that get away from evil things, they didn't listen. Then Elijah invited them to a competition. Said, okay, gather as many as you want. And I call God. You call God. So let's do this today. Today, let's do it. You gather all global churches and call your God. Call your God. I was going to a church and they calling their God with the crying. Continue crying. Continue. Gather everywhere that you can. Cry and call your God. Maybe your God is asleep. Maybe your God sent to vacation. Maybe your God is doing something. I don't know. Calling your God. Cry, calling your God. And I call my God today. And we know what happened. Elijah God appeared and showed up. And after that, Elijah killed all of the prophets of false God, prophet of Jezebel. And Jezebel was furious. She was angry and said, I will kill Elijah. So I just wanted to give you a background of the story. Who is Jezebel? So still, my offer still exists. Today, gather all you want. Cry to your God. And I call on my God. The woman wore purple and scarlet clothing and beautiful jewelry made of gold and precious gem and pearl. In her hand, she held a gold goblet full of obscenities and the impurities of her immorality. A mysterious name was written on her forehead. The name, if you see something here or a forehead of somebody, pay attention to read that name on the ear or on the forehead. You can read it. In her hand, she held a gold goblet full of obscenity and the impurity of her immorality. You see, some women have a lot of gold on her hand. You see that? Something like that. A mysterious name was written on her forehead. Babylon, the great mother of all prostitutes and obscenities in the world. I could see that she was drunk with the blood of God's holy people who were witness for Jesus. In today's world, girls are having beer poster. They get naked and have beer poster and said, "Oh, I heard that we supposed to do this. Somebody say a trend and said, oh, I heard that we are doing beer poster for our boyfriend. They get naked and get a picture of beer poster. That's symbolizing Jezebel. They get from Jezebel, the spirit of pride. I stared at her in complete amazement. I will tell you the mystery of this woman and the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. I will tell you. Discord for a mind with understanding. The 7 heads of the beast represent the 7 hills. Some churches have name the part of the name of the church as hills. So the 7 heads of the beast represent the churches with the name of the hill, where the woman rules. In today's world, global churches go with the name. They also represent 7 kings, figuratively TV ministry with the number 7. That's the spirit of Jezebel, pride. But his reign will be brief. I today normally I write no English translation to Farsi. So today I was come up with this, that when you go to the barber and barber asks you a question, how would you like me to cut it? So if if you are from God, if you are selected by God, today ask God, and God cut it. But I call my God. Then I call God that protect me from evil one. That's the prayer Jesus taught us. God, protect me from the evil one. Okay. The scarlet beast that was, but is like the other 7, and he too is headed for destruction. We see already happening. Already this is happening. There was a church with number 8 that closed. That church closed because they were representing the mother of prostitute, Jezebel. Then the angel said to me, the waters where the prostitute is ruling represent masses of people of every nation and language. So maybe you have a church that every nation and language in that church. But we see here, the water where the prostitute is ruling represent masses of people of every language and nation. So what? You have people from every nation and language. So what? The water represent that masses. We know that some churches have masses, and it's so obvious. And this woman you saw in your vision represent the great city that rules over the king of the world. We have some cities symbolizes. When you go to a city and Sin City and a station in Sin City. You go there and a station in Sin City. And there is lots of casino and you gamble all the time and you lost all of your money. And when your son asks for their money, as your father, you have to support your children, then you say, no, I'm not giving you any money. And you go to the court against your son. In the first place, you shouldn't spend all of your money on gambling in the Sin City. Then you should be able to give your son some support. That's why I said there is no wonder corruption starts from Sin City. I know a family lives there. And what we can learn more from Jezebel, somebody whose name was Jezebel, is she was not only she was blaspheme against God, but also she um, encouraged her husband to do the same. We know the story of that property. A man had a property, and the king Ahab wanted that property and said, I want your property. But the man said, I'm not selling my property. And the king said, I want your property, and increased prices. But the man wasn't willing to sell that property. And when he was upset, he was disturbed. Some, I told you again, that Sin City, a lady from that Sin City, she wanted to get my book. I wasn't willing to get my book at first. But what they did what Jezebel did. Jezebel said, okay, let's do something. Let's get rid of, let's get rid of that man and get that property for us. Don't be upset. I have a solution. I find a way to give you the property you need. That's Jezebel did. She found a way to get that property for her husband. They killed the man that was owner of that property and give the land free of charge to her husband with manipulation. They killed that man, that owner of property. And today we see that they suffocate, they kill people to get what they want. Believe me, they do this. They try to poison me. Maybe you don't believe it because I told someone he didn't believe me, but they tried to poison me. I know, I know. It's horrible. What kind of person poison other person to get what he owns? He wanted the property, so I had some property. He poisoned me to get that property. That's the job of Jezebel, somebody named Jezebel. That is great prostitute. Well, think for yourself. It's up to you. Think, what have you done? I'm not judging you. Think about what you have done. What you have done. Peace of God be with you all. Never delete.